Nostalgia can make the grass of the past look greener than it really was, but some eras are simply undeniable. Nike basketball's reign in the early 2010s is one we'll never forget. There was just something in the air back then, and that air wasn't just in the shoes. Nike's dominance ventured outside the lines and captivated the streets, making room for peak performance and swag to coexist in a way we had never seen before. So what was it about this point in history that makes it revered by sneaker lovers everywhere? It wasn't just a golden age of design. There was a three-headed goat dominating the NBA that led the charge into the future of footwear, hoop shoes that catered to both the court and the culture. Let's set the stage. The swoosh had put itself in a position to expand its already massive footprint by signing three of the NBA's biggest names: LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Kevin Durant. With that much star power, you would have thought they hit the lottery.
Between Nike, Reebok, and Adidas, all of these sneaker companies were after them. But at the end of the day, when Nike decides they want to do something, no one can do it better than them. It was strategic and it was on purpose. There was no lottery, but they were definitely going after lottery picks, and they got a lot of them.
LeBron James had been Nike's golden child from the jump, inking a 7-year, $90 million contract in 2003. The partnership was renewed in 2010 for another 9 years, an extension that, at the time, some said would outlive James's playing career. We all know how that turned out. Kobe Bryant's path to the swoosh took a detour by way of the three stripes. He signed with Adidas straight out of high school, but the 6-year collaboration came to an end with the tremendous flop of the Kobe 2. After buying out of his contract and spending a year as a sneaker free agent, Kobe found a home at Nike, signing a 4-year, $40 million deal just 1 month after the chosen one. 4 years later, Nike completed its big three with the arrival of the Slim Reaper. Kevin Durant must have taken note of how things ended for Kobe and Adidas, because when it came time for the Longhorn turned Supersonic to make his signing choice, he turned down their $70 million offer and took a 7-year, $60 million deal with Nike in 2007. That was still the second highest paying deal for a rookie, behind only LeBron. So the brand named after the goddess of victory had racked up a three-peat of major wins on the signature athlete front. By 2010, the reigning league MVP LeBron had gone from hero to villain by joining the Miami Heat to team up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Kobe, already a three-peat champion from the previous decade, had just gone back-to-back, adding a 5th ring to his trophy case. And Durant had officially arrived as an emerging superstar, playing for a new and exciting Thunder franchise after the Sonics relocated to Oklahoma City.
I think Nike understood that there was something so transcendent about each individual player, and as they dominated the league, it allowed Nike to just do so much in terms of the product lines they were putting out. The stories they were telling were going to tell themselves, just because you wanted to have a piece of this dominance as a fan and as a consumer.
And those stories were being broadcasted to a larger audience than ever before. Nike was preparing to take on the world with their star-studded lineup, while the league they played in continued its global growth. During David Stern's tenure as commissioner, increasing the NBA's exposure to fans around the world was high on the priority list. Initiatives like Basketball Without Borders launched. Preseason and regular season games overseas were becoming more common. The number of international players in the NBA had more than doubled in a decade. And the Redeem Team had just won gold at the Olympics in 2008. The whole world was watching the NBA, and the league's 3 biggest stars all rep the same brand.
I think the globalization of basketball certainly helped drive the business, and that was likely a conjoined effort between Nike and the league.
They just had global appeal in a world that still was huge in terms of TV advertising, print advertising. These players just had such a huge reach across the world through their signature product.
The shoes were pure heat, with a dream team of sneaker masterminds stoking the fire behind the scenes. Jason Petrie, Eric Avar, and Leo Chang were the designers that will propel Nike basketball to a level of untouchability in the 2010s, working closely with LeBron, Kobe, and KD respectively. These designer hooper duos delivered stylish performance footwear to consumers in a fresh new way.
3 different personalities, 3 different approaches to sneakers, 3 different designers. It was honestly just the perfect storm that translated to sneakers.
The designs were aggressive, leaned into performance, and married new tech like Flywire and Hyperfuse with mainstays like Air Max and Zoom. Each designer took their own approach in combining these materials to sculpt their athletes' lines in unique ways that prioritize both performance and storytelling. LeBron's line focused on containment. As explosive as he is, his shoes were designed to support and protect. Kobe's line, notable for pioneering the low cut, focused on court feel and mobility, allowing for his shoe to serve as an extension of the foot. And KD's line focused on a combination of both, with lightweight and lockdown being key points of emphasis. Even though these kicks were driven by their breakthrough tech and performance, the mark that they left on the fashion world can't be ignored.
We have all of these different intersections with sport, style, and footwear, and they always come together in this really interesting way.
Basketball shoes were trending, like in culture. Like you wore basketball shoes to the mall, to dinner, to wherever. And that has since gone away and has not returned.
Back then, it wasn't taboo at all for you to throw on a pair of KDs and your Nike Elite socks. You had on cargo pants. Like that was the style that was accepted back then. And because these pairs were so fun, but they really did push the envelope, you felt like you were going against the grain and you were really breaking out of a mold of what we thought basketball pairs, what we thought performance sneakers were supposed to be, and they were loud.
When you have a performance product that happens to be the trendy thing that is worn by people in culture, you are really in a slipstream and you've got a lot of synergy to help build that business. And Nike basketball absolutely had it at that time.
Nike dropped banger after banger in the name of LeBron, Kobe, and KD, but a handful of noteworthy silhouettes defined this era, making lasting waves in the sneaker community while representing important chapters in each player's storied careers. First, the LeBron 8, a pivotal shoe that dropped at a pivotal time, as LeBron had just made his blockbuster decision to join the Heat. By this point, Jason Petrie had already taken LeBron's line into new territory with the 7, but the 8 pushed the inventiveness even further. Mainly because the design of the shoe evolved alongside LeBron's game as the season progressed. The LeBron 8 had 3 iterations, the V1, the V2, and the postseasons. Each model transformed to be lighter and cater more toward optimal performance.
The same way that he's pushing the limits of the game, he pushes us to be better and create things that are worthy of his style of play.
Being the first release during LeBron's newly adopted villain arc, the 8 was an instant classic. Plus, who could forget the South Beaches? The colorway was an immediate hit with sneakerheads that are popular to this day because of its vibrant, statement-making teal and pink flash accents.
They still turn heads because I think we all remember that moment, right? Whenever there's a massive change in a power player and them going to a different team, we remember that because it changes the landscape altogether.
That same 2010-2011 season, Eric Avar and Kobe geared up to release the iconic Kobe-6. The low-cut wave they pioneered with the Kobe-4 was perfected in the 6th edition, a fully synthetic upper that was sculpted to emulate a scaly snakeskin shell contained supportive flywire paired with Zoom air cushion in the heel and forefoot. The Lakers were the defending champs. Kobe now had a ring for each finger. And for the holidays, he'd give the sneaker world a gift that has yet to be forgotten. Kobe debuted the Grinches in a Christmas Day matchup versus the Heat. The jaw-dropping colorway would eventually become Kobe's most enduring sneaker ever. The popularity of the Kobe-6 overall has never truly wavered, as it's still one of the most worn shoes in the NBA today. The Grinches in particular have appreciated ever-growing value, even with re-releases.
You can't think about the Kobe-6 without thinking about the Grinches. That shoe as a canvas in and of itself is iconic. The Grinch Kobe-6s are one of the best, if not the best, single colorways of a signature basketball sneaker in history.
The following season, Kevin Durant would fully enter the chat. As KD began to live up to his potential, his shoes did too. And it helped that they didn't hurt the bank either, with his early models retailing for just under $100. The fourth installment of KD's line seemed to follow in the footsteps of Kobe, with Durant and Leo Chang designing a low-cut silhouette of their own. Only this time, lockdown was a main point of emphasis with the debut of Nike's adaptive fit system, complete with a mid-foot strap intended to achieve a more personalized fit for all foot shapes.
Nike was able to do a lot of cool things with that silhouette, from the Weatherman to the Year of the Dragons to the Aunt Pearls. And that was also just prime Kevin Durant.
KD earned his second straight scoring title and made his first finals appearance in the fours. Taking on Braun, D-Wade, and Bosh while leading a young big three of his own was quite the statement. Although he came up short, he made it clear that he was next up, and top-tier designs would only continue to take his game to new heights. 2012 saw the release of the LeBron 10, a milestone shoe for both the King and Nike. Debuting on the world stage at the Olympics, LeBron won his second gold medal in the 10. Having also just won his first NBA championship, the release was highly anticipated. The LeBron 10 Plus was the first signature shoe with built-in Nike Plus technology, allowing wearers to track stats and performance while they played. This was at a steep price point of $270. The standard model cost a bit less, but still delivered us colorways like the Dolphins, Cutting Jades, and the Corks that flew off shelves. And of course, we can't ignore the Celebration Pack, a limited release that commemorated LeBron's back-to-back championships with the Heat. The victory red and gold accented high top, packaged with a multicolored floral low top that had glow-in-the-dark outsoles, are grails for collectors who can afford their $3,000 resale value. In the summer of 2013, the KD6 was born. Continuing to experiment with lockdown, it featured an asymmetrical lacing system with an ultra-thin overlapping tongue that KD wore to an MVP-winning season and a Western Conference Finals appearance. This shoe took the culture by storm. You'd be hard-pressed back then to step outside and not see someone rocking sixes, dressed in seat-pleasant yellow, Christmas green and crimson, all-star gumbo, Easter camel, and more. The KD6 offered a wide range of colorways that elevated any outfit. KD might not have been a champion just yet, but he went back-to-back with the 7 in 2014. With the return of the strap, the KD7 was another staple in on and off court rotations. That mesh forefoot paired with the sleek sculpted hyperposit around the heel was a perfect canvas for some crazy color combos, but it wasn't the wildest shoe that dropped that year. The low-cut Laker legend decided to flip the script completely with the Kobe 9 Elite, the highest of all high tops. This break from tradition was in some ways in response to his Achilles injury from the previous season, but there was more to it than that.
I think it was time to innovate a little more. We've had a lot of success having low-cut shoes, but that doesn't mean we just rest on that. So now, how do we improve upon that? And so, looking at Pacquiao's boot and boxing boots, looking at how they're high, I felt like it'd be a nice challenge to give to Nike to see if we can create the same product for basketball players. I wanted to still keep the same weight, I wanted it to be extremely light, and I wanted to move with the foot.
The Kobe 9 was the first shoe from Nike Basketball with an upper completely made of Flyknit, a new technology that the swoosh had already debuted in its running footwear. It was a revolutionary material that allowed for that form-fitting flexibility Kobe was after. The Kobe 9 Elite was polarizing, but no matter how you viewed them, Kobe's shoes changed the game yet again. And so this is what the peak looked like. A level of success for a brand that received endless returns on their investments thanks to a perfect roster of athletes and designers that seemed to push the envelope as far as it could go and still found ways to go further. With all these pieces aligning, this period of brand and player synergy is unparalleled. Nike marketed its products to the entire world with campaigns that showcased premium designs in the best way possible, performances from some of the best to ever do it, night in and night out on the hardwood.
Nike wanted to stop you in your tracks. They wanted to turn heads. These players were going to do that on their own, on the court, with every and anything, whether they were putting you on a poster, hitting a game winner, taking their team to back-to-back finals. They were going to pour every and anything into these players the same way that these players poured into the game itself.
At that time of sneakers, it was a really exciting era of the NBA. All those players were at the peak of their careers. Each of their signature lines brought a little something different.
It was performance basketball that happened to collide with the culture and those being cool again. And so I think it was just this kind of critical point where, like, culturally they were cool, performance they were doing quite well, the athletes were still big and stars, and that is just the perfect storm for a performance basketball business.
The run Nike went on in the 2010s expanded what we thought signature sneakers could be. The designs played both sides of the fence, never compromising style for performance. You just had to be there. And if you weren't, there's a chance that you missed a once-in-a-lifetime moment in sneaker history. A new fleet of rising stars is starting to take the reins. Fashion has largely moved on from rocking basketball shoes casually, and the rate that we see technological innovations in footwear has since plateaued. As the saying goes, they just don't make them like they used to. That's why these shoes are retroed often and are always in demand. It's nostalgia kicking in to remind us how good it used to be. There's a lot we don't know about the future of signature sneakers, but one thing's for sure, the next generation has some big shoes to fill.